Hey everybody, this is Dim, and today we're going to be reviewing the Hades clone by Tobeco. Alright, so the Hades clone is, as most of you probably know by now, is a 26650 battery mod. Now, it does have the standard 28 top diameter, but it does kind of have a signatured beveled out look for the bottom. So it does make this wider than most 26650 mods, especially the ones that are going for the thin form factor. But before we go any further, why don't we go take a look at it up close and see what this thing is all about. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the Hades up close. First off, you have the obvious, you have the battery tube, which is sort of a brushed stainless steel, and it does have that sort of trademark Hades bevel outward. The threads are nice and clean. It does have a fake randomized serial number, which I'm not really all that thrilled about, but it is there. Now, the one thing to note about the machining on this is in here, these grooves are actually kind of sharp. Like, you could definitely feel it catching on your skin. So if you catch this the wrong way, you might be getting a slight little paper cut. But other than that, the machining is okay. The threads are fine. But yeah, that is one thing to point out. It is a little sharp around these particular areas here. Next up, you have the top cap, which in this case is brass. And it has a kind of a unique firing pin on the top for the battery, or the adjustment pin for the battery. And with that is, you don't really adjust with the set screw turning it up or down for rattle. It actually has a really cool idea where the pin is actually spring fed, and you simply push the button, or the battery will push the button to adjust to fit. So it's actually a really cool way to eliminate battery rattle in the chamber. And I actually think this is a lot better than the typical 2-screw adjustments personally, so I do really like this. And the machining on this part is really quite nice. I really have no gripes about this whatsoever. Has a nice little finish on it, and the contact pin and the 510 adapter is nice and perfectly threaded. And then you have the bottom part, which has the Hades screen logo on it, and this is pretty good quality. It doesn't look like it's going to come off anytime soon. Of course, it'll, you know, it could wear off, but it does feel pretty pretty durable, pretty good. It has a locking ring, which is brass, and you screw it down and it'll prevent the screw from firing, and you can of course kiss it up this way. It is reverse threaded, which is good. And here's your firing mechanism. It is a little crunchy. Now, to note, one cool thing about the package that I got from Tobeco, which, by the way, it comes in this particular box. So, yeah, it does come in a box, nothing all that fancy, but it is from Tobeco. But they also give you a bag, which is kind of cool. They give you 2 magnets and an extra spring. So you can kind of choose however you want to configure this. If you want to use a spring, or if you want to use the additional 2 magnets, that's up to you. But the spring is relatively beefy. You would obviously just unscrew this if you wanted to. See? Spring comes out. You can switch it with the magnets if you want. To be perfectly honest with you, with the K-Fun that I was using with this today, I've set it down without using the lock ring at all, and it did not fire once accidentally. So that is certainly a good thing, and the spring is pretty beefy. So it's not the 26650 K-Fun, but it is the K-Fun that has it holds about 4 milliliters of juice, 3.1 ES, and the 26650 battery was able to hold this up. So this here is the Tobeco Hades clone. We'll go ahead up and take a look at it for a review. Alright, so the one thing I forgot is there is a lip inside of the tray that prevents the battery from going through. So you actually can't load the battery from the top. You have to load it from the bottom. So I'll show you. See, if I just drop it in, the 26650 will not fall out. So then you just go ahead and simply piece everything back together, and you can hear that the threads are really kind of nice and smooth. Always like a good smooth thread. Like butter. Yeah, and then you just line up the top, and with that push pin that I showed you, you'll see that there's no battery rattle whatsoever. One thing aesthetically with these slits is you can see the battery, so if that's something that bothers you, you will see the battery, but it is a kind of part of the design aesthetics. Now, I actually bought a bunch of 26650 batteries during a sale that one of the sites were having, but truth of the matter is I never had a 26650 mod. So I really didn't know what to expect as far as battery performance. So the first thing that I did with it was I wanted to say, listen, usually I bring 2 mods to work and kind of rotate between the 2, sometimes even 3, and just kind of switch between everything. What I did with this, for the sake of testing, was I used only this particular mod. Now, I like to use tanks quite often during work, especially when I'm driving. So what I did was I stuck with a Kfun 3.1 ES clone, and I vaped that the entire day to get an idea for battery life. Now, if I use my mech mod, typically if I use a Kfun solely, I'll go through about 1.5-ish 18650s throughout the course of a day. I do vape a relatively high amount of juice, and I made sure to do that today, just so that I can use it. So I had a full Kfun when I left, and now when I'm here, this is actually the second tank, and to give you an idea for how much juice was actually in here, there's only just a little trickle left. So this is pretty much 2 tanks of liquid in the Kfun filled to the top. So about, let's say, 8 milliliters, 7-8 milliliters. I just took this thing off my volt reader, 4 volts. Now, it's obviously going to drop off soon, and then it'll start going down. And I don't like vaping below 3.7. Once it gets to 3.6, it's spent. Quite often with 18650s, you know when it feels different. You just kind of pull it out and you're done. And when I put on the volt reader, when I put it on my charger and it shows you how much it is in it, it's usually between 3.6 and 3.7 when I can say that's enough, I need to switch it. What do I think about this mod? First of all, the OCD in me is saying I need to go get another Addy, because there's not a single, the 22 millimeter top cap, every mod looks misplaced on this thing. There's just no way about it. But other than that, for a clone construction, I have to say this Tobeco model is really kind of top notch. Now, the one thing I could say is you got to be careful around these slots, like I mentioned, because they do feel like there could be a chance for you to kind of maybe slice your finger on it, which is not always a good thing. But the locking ring works well. You can kiss it up too hard, and then you have to kind of use a little bit of force to get it out. But for the most part, it rolls nicely. And I really have the spring, while it holds its weight, it does get a little crunchy if I hit it from the sides. You can kind of hear that here. It doesn't grab up as bad as, like, say, a lot of the Nemi clones do, but it does get a little crunchy. I tried the magnets, and the magnets are a little bit smoother. However, I feel as though actually the spring requires a little bit more force to activate when it's standing vertically. So I actually decided to just keep the spring in there. Other than that, though, the build quality on this is really good for a clone. They go typically online sales for between 20 and 35, 40. Brick and mortar, you can 50 and up, 50, 60. And do I think it's worth it? I do. I think the construction on this is really, really nice. I actually won this from a raffle from a local vape shop that I go to, Vape Prime if you're in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. But yeah, would I pay for this? Absolutely. Would I online or brick and mortar? I kind of juggle the prices. I feel as though I don't feel as bad when the markup, because listen, they got a lot more bills and overhead than I'd want to deal with having a front end store. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what 2 tanks worth of Kfun vaping has produced and see how this mod hits. So this is the same Kfun I've been using all day, with essentially the end of a second tank. Alright, so I want to give you guys a sample of what it's like to get a hit from the mod. However, the K-Fun was completely empty, so I did fill it up since I just showed it to you. Because yeah, so I vaped essentially 2 full tanks, and I'm at 4 volts still. Not bad. Let me show you how it vapes. It's 0.8 ohms, so it's not a crazy killer cloud chasing coil. And the K-Fun's not really meant for cloud chasing in its stock form, but it hits perfect. It's a good mechanical mod. So yeah, guys, listen, check it out. If you want a 26650 mod, there's a lot out there. This one is as thin as you're going to get up here with, you know, the bump at the bottom I thought was going to kind of bother me. But I do have relatively large hands, and it feels kind of good that it just kind of rests against your inner palm here, and you can kind of just trigger it. So, and I actually really like the grip of it. The only problem is that it does kind of throw off your mod holders. Like, I got a bunch of 3D printed stuff, and they're mainly geared for 22mm mods, and they would probably fit 28s okay. However, it's kind of out of place. But it does hold it. My card holder does not, so you do have to, it is a larger mod, just like any of the 26650 mods are, but this one is definitely a really, really cool mod. I highly recommend it. If you want to purchase it, I'll throw a link down below to Fast Tech, since I got this from just a regular brick and mortar, and I'll show you, it'll be the one to the same Tobeco clone, but yeah. Hades mod, highly recommended for the price. It's a really cool mod, really nice finish. I dig the brushed. It's worth it. It's got most of the features that I like. I do prefer a recessed button. Typically I do also prefer a magnet button. However, the spring in this is heavy duty enough that it doesn't bother me, and I actually prefer the spring over the magnet for the extra weight holding, or the load bearing on the spring. But that's, again, that's all preference. But yeah, I do recommend this, so check it out. Also, one last thing, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, because I really do appreciate all the views and stuff that are coming in, and only you guys can help make this channel grow. So thank you for that. Now, I do have a giveaway. I want to give away I've been printing a couple of these for a new forum that just opened up. If you're not familiar with Vapor Joe's and you're in vaping, then you probably should get out of the rock. Vapor Joe's is a site that's been around for a couple years now that finds all deals all over the web. Well, Joe and his team decided to create a new forum called vapingunderground.com, and I've really enjoyed it so far. It reminds me of a forum that I used to be a member of that I really liked, where it's kind of open to talk, but the community is close enough. It's not, you know, kind of a bash fest, and it just seems like a really nice community. So I'm actually printing some 3D rebuildable atomizer stands for you guys, and this one's kind of actually not a really good sample of it, but it's going to have vapingunderground.com on them, and I want to give one away to you guys. So just leave something in the comments below, and I will do a drawing 1 week from today, which is July 7th, 8th, 7th. We'll say the 7th. We'll do a drawing on the 7th, and I will announce a winner. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool. It's really kind of a neat stand. You could throw your, you know, different rebuildable atomizers. Here I got the Magma, which we talked about, and the K-Fun that you just saw in the video, and you have room for one more. And what I actually do is I put a little paper towel in here, and it's my drip tip holder. So it's cool, and it's homemade, so you can't complain about that. So yeah, I'll give you guys a little, I know it's not a huge, crazy giveaway, but hey, it's something, right? So leave something in the comments for a chance to win it. Check out Vaping Underground. It's a really cool site, and like I said, as always, like, comment, subscribe. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at DimDoes. Super interactive, so if you have any questions at all, feel free to hit me up there, or on Vaping Underground. My name is Dim. So thanks for watching. This was the Hades clone mod. Highly recommend it. Check it out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!